Hello everyone, this is Nick Nat Packer coming to you live from Virginia Beach, Virginia with my vlog for Vampire Diaries Season 3, Episode 9, Homecoming. Alright, this is the big mid-season finale type thing because the show's going to be going on hiatus along with the rest of the CW shows until January 5th of next year. Oh, I know, that's like 2 months and it sucks. But, usually when they do this hiatus thing, they always show reruns of everything leading up, all the episodes to get people by. And curiously enough, Paul Wesley's, from the advertisements that I've seen in and around that particular episode, he's apparently filmed some kind of movie for the CW, not sure what it is, so it looks like some sort of romantic drama. I don't know. But anyway, I believe they're supposed to be showing that at some point. To kind of fill the gap for the next couple weeks, with the holiday being here and all. So, Homecoming. This is the big to do. This is it. This is the down and dirty. I knew going into this that Klaus wasn't just going to die. It couldn't happen that quick. I mean, they've got a whole 13 episodes until the end of the season before they address that issue. It'd be too quick. Obviously, something was going to happen to get in their way. And something definitely did. As the episode begins, Stefan's on the phone making a phone call to Klaus, letting him know that Michael is dead, that he's been vervained and staked. Klaus at first can't believe it. She's shocked. He's apparently in Portland, rounding up, as we suspected, an army of hybrids who he has now been able to successfully turn because he has a stockpile of Elena's blood. Klaus doesn't initially want to believe that Michael's dead because, it's Michael. He's been running from this man for 1,000 years. So he says, I want to see his rotting corpse first, and if you're lying to me, I swear to God, I'll kill you. So, right as soon as that phone call ends, the scene shifts and it goes to 1 hour earlier when Damon, Elena, Stefan, and curiously enough, Michael were originally planning this whole event. The plan has so many layers I can't even begin to tell you. There are certain portions of this plan that only Damon knows about. Damon and Michael, there's certain portions of this plan that Michael doesn't know about. There's certain portions of this plan that Stefan doesn't know about. And there's certain portions of this plan that only Catherine knows about. I mean, it's very compartmentalized, but I think that's what Damon was going for. Because he didn't want any one person to know the entirety of the plan except him. Because I don't think he trusts anybody but himself. And Elena, of course. So the idea is that since Stefan is compelled to do whatever Klaus says, and is also compelled that he cannot lie to Klaus. In order for them to make this work, in order for him to convince Klaus to come back, to convince him that Michael's dead, he has to visually, with his eyes, see Michael being staked. Because, obviously Klaus is going to ask him what happened, and if he can't attest to this fact, because he didn't visually see it, he can't verbally lie. So he has to be able to have actually seen it. So, how are we going to do this? How can we just convince Michael to do this? And while they're wondering how this is going to go down, Michael just happens to show up. It says, well, if he needs me to be dead, then I shall be dead. And he readies that special dagger, the one that only non-vampires can use. And he gives it to Elena, and she stakes him. She stabs him. And so he's lying on the floor all gray, but obviously not dead. And Stefan continues the phone call saying, if you want to see him, he's right here. And Klaus says that he will be on his way shortly. Well, first he asks to talk to Rebecca. He wants confirmation that this is actually true. Now, she's the unknown in this, because even though they managed to convince her of Klaus's lie about their mother, they still don't know that they can trust her, because she could just as easily turn on them. And she's been running with him for 1,000 years, and it's not going to be that simple for them to just for her to break her ties with Klaus. But it's obvious, you can see in her face when she talks to him on the phone that there's a sense of defeat in her. She's, I think in her heart, she feels betrayed because she gave her allegiance to her brother, and he lied to her for a millennia, practically. I mean, everything she thought she knew has been virtually destroyed. And I could see in her face how dejected, how shattered that she truly is. And even still, there's still that small part of her that didn't like betraying him. It's weird. It's like she's a complex range of emotions. But she goes along with it and confirms that Michael's dead to get him to agree to come back, and he does. Not long after that, they pull the stake back out of Michael because he has insurance on them that if they don't do as he says, he's going to make it painful. He doesn't immediately come back, which is unusual. You would think for a vampire that powerful that coming back from that wouldn't take much, but well, whatever. So they leave Rebecca with him, and Elena and Damon are busy putting together some wolfsbane grenades to use, because they're planned for pretty much every contingency possible. They already know that if Klaus comes back, he's going to have his highways with him. They have to be prepared for that. You know, they know that they can't completely trust Rebecca. They can't completely trust Michael. The two of them could turn on them at any point in time. The other big unknown is Stefan, because even though they know that Stefan wants to be free from Klaus's compulsion, they also know that he is unstable. And they can't completely trust what he will or won't do while he's still under that compulsion. He might want it gone, but the fact is he's still compelled and he's liable to do anything. Okay, and then there's also the problem of the other hybrids. They're all sired like Tyler is there, and they all have to protect Klaus. They can't fight it. It's not something that they can fight. So they're making the wolfsbane grenades, and of course Stefan takes the opportunity, as usual in just about every episode of this past season, to, you know, stop him and have his words and be degrading and say, you know, in the roundabout way, you're a trouble magnet and I'm compelled to protect you. It's like he has to say this every single episode. I don't know why. Like, she doesn't already know this fact. So even though she doesn't want him to go to the dance, he's going to go anyway because he has to be there to keep her safe. He doesn't have a choice. And he asked Damon for a tie. He's like, I'm 160 something years old. I have to go to a homecoming dance. I need new ties. He thinks that their idea of using wolfsbane is pathetic, that it won't work, and that their epic plans they're notoriously doomed to fail. But you know, Damon and Elena are resolved that they have thought of all contingencies, and if anything that could possibly go wrong, they want this, you know, settled. It's a cute little scene with them in the bathroom, exchanging those grenades. It kind of shows that they have this, that they're comfortable around each other now. She doesn't stress with him there like she used to. I would almost venture to say that she's almost as comfortable with him as she used to be around Stefan. And Stefan, I think, she doesn't like being around Stefan right now because she doesn't know. I mean, the only reason that she even tolerates being around Stefan is because she knows that he can't physically hurt her because he's compelled not to. That doesn't mean that she likes the way he acts, period. Because she doesn't. She just tolerates it because she knows she doesn't have much choice. He's not going to go away. At After that, there's a scene with Elena and Rebecca, and Rebecca's wearing that red dress that Elena had no choice but to pick out, and is getting ready to go to the dance. And it's the first time I think I've seen her smile in the longest time. She's kind of excited. She really wants to go. Apparently, the date they chose for her was Matt. I don't know why, because I thought they were trying to keep Matt out of all of this craziness. But I'm going to guess that they needed somebody unsuspecting. Not that Matt didn't know what was going on. I think they needed someone who was unsuspecting to Klaus. And someone who wouldn't have an issue getting in the front door, first of all. So they're having a conversation, and Rebecca unbelievably unburdens herself on Elena and explains to her why it's so important to her to be able to go to this dance, because she spent her whole life on the run from Michael, and she's never been able to experience these simple pleasures, these simple human things, and she misses it a lot. And I can see that Elena sympathizes with her. So Elena says to her, there's one thing about your dress that I think would make, your dress is not quite complete, but there's one thing I know that I think would make it perfect. And she actually gives Rebecca her mother's necklace. The necklace that Stefan gave her that actually belongs to Rebecca, given to her by her mother, the original witch. And a look on Rebecca's face, she's absolutely taken aback by it. She couldn't believe that Elena would be that forthcoming. She'd been looking for that necklace for 90 some odd years. It means a great deal to her. I think it was the first moment that I could actually see a softness to Rebecca, apart from that mean girl vibe that she always puts off to everybody. But she's actually, like Elena had said before, she's just a girl who loves her family dearly, and and hates what their life has become. I think maybe under a different set of circumstances, they could have actually been friends. I think that they could have been allies. And that's the direction I thought it was taking. And then Elena did something completely unexpected. She daggered her in the back. But Stefan had said to her and Damon both, that the reason why this plan was going to fail is because someone's humanity is going to get in the way, and they're not going to be able to step up the plate when the time comes. And Elena was afraid that it was going to be her that was going to cause it to fail, because she is always the one that cares too much, that feels too much. So she had to put her humanity aside and take out the threat. And Rebecca at the time was the unknown. I mean, seemed like she was gravitating more to their side, but they still couldn't be sure that they could trust her. She could easily turn on them at any point to save her brother. So Elena felt she did the only thing that she felt she could do. Take her out of the equation. So she calls Damon in, and Damon covers her body with a blanket. And Elena, you can tell she feels completely like a piece of crap for even doing that to her, especially after Rebecca just unburdened herself, And she also feels like, it's going to be me that causes this plan to fail. My humanity is going to cause this whole thing to go downhill. And he's like, don't worry. She's not even really dead. You daggered a person. It's not that bad. It's okay. She's a vampire. She'll come back. And she asks him, because I don't think he's really relayed the entire details of the plan to her. She asks him, what exactly is the plan? And he said, well, I didn't tell you everything because I knew you weren't exactly going to like it. And this is the coolest part right here.